Perched atop the highest lookout point in Alton, you'll find the McPike Mansion, considered to be the most paranormally active home in the entire state. It's been featured on countless TV shows, web series, and podcasts, and you can see why. It's the quintessential haunted house. Abandoned for decades, it's no wonder the house acquired a haunted reputation on looks alone. And if you grew up around Alton, Illinois, you were guaranteed to hear whispers about the terrifying house on Albee Street.
Mike Ford, Houston Texans, from Alton, Illinois. This is my first time actually being on the property. Growing up around here, we just kind of like, that stop sign wasn't even there, so you didn't stop in front of here or anything. You just kind of drove past it and just looked and like hoped to see stuff in the windows maybe or something. But you know, nobody ever really stopped here. This is my first time seeing the sign and saying that you could stop here, so we were like, why not? And we saw you guys here, so it gave us some courage to walk up.
So you avoided the place for 28 years.
Yep, I haven't been here. Kind of wish I could go in, but nah.
Well, Mike Ford's not going inside, but we will. First, let's rewind and start from the beginning.
There's a place where one goes to die, and recently I spent some time there, and well, where in the world are you hiding, my dear, my dear? I caught a glimpse of something very weird.
This is Alton, Illinois, home of the Haunted America Conference. I'm here for a 3-day weekend full of making friends, attending presentations, some fun thematic shopping, and of course, ghost hunting. As founder Troy Taylor explains, it's like an adult paranormal summer camp. For more on the conference, check out my first video in this 3-part series. But today, we're here to focus on one particular location. Yeah, that's like a classic haunted house. Look at that.
They have a tiny one.
Our ghost hunt begins tonight, so let's make use of the daylight hours and learn the story of this unique home and its builder, Henry McPike.
It was built in 1869 by a former mayor of Alton and his family. They actually had a vineyard that grew on top of the hill where the house is. He became very famous for his grapes, of all things.
Henry Guest McPike, he was one of the movers and shakers here in town. And he was actually on the dais during the Lincoln-Douglas debates. He was a strong supporter of Mr. Lincoln at the time.
But the house has seen several different families that have lived in it over the years, and some of them have left bits of themselves behind.
In 1869, this red brick mansion was extravagant for its time. With 16 rooms, 11 marble fireplaces, fine finishes, and a large basement wine cellar. Henry was an avid horticulturalist, and the 15-acre grounds were planted with all kinds of rare and beautiful trees and flowers, as well as a vineyard where they grew the award-winning McPike grapes. However, Henry's family life was marred by tragedy. His first wife died, his second marriage ended in divorce, and 4 of his 8 children preceded him in death. The youngest was a 6-month-old infant. Supposedly, there's a couple old graves in the back of the house, and this one they think was maybe a child's crypt, and obviously it's been broken, so it's a desecrated tomb. Henry died in the home in his bedroom on April 18, 1910, after a short and sudden illness. The house remained in the family, passing to his son John, who also lived there until he died in 1936. After John McPike's death, the mansion was sold and run as a boarding house by a man named Paul Lashinger, who, I'm sensing a pattern here, also died in the house in 1951. Then the property was sold off to a real estate developer who wanted to demolish the mansion and build a shopping center. Luckily, the town opposed this plan and the building was converted to apartments. However, renters in the 50s and 60s began to experience some odd occurrences. Flickering lights, unexplainable footsteps, even the voices and laughter of phantom children. If you grab a copy of Troy Taylor's Haunted Alton, he details some frightening first-hand accounts. But I won't spoil them for you. In the 70s and 80s, the building was abandoned, and thieves broke in and stole everything that wasn't nailed down, and a lot of things that were, like marble mantelpieces, chandeliers, copper pipes, even the toilets. The structure was listed on the National Register of Historic Places on June 17, 1980, but continued to rust and peel until 1994, when it was purchased by the current owners, Sharon and George Ludke. They won the house at auction, and when the first multi-million-dollar estimate came in on repairs, they realized they were in over their heads. In the 30 years since, the couple has slowly been able to repair, stabilize, and somewhat restore the historic home to its former grandeur. The exterior work is now mainly complete, including a new roof, windows, and front porch. If you want to come and see for yourselves, they offer tours and ghost hunting sessions, and every penny goes towards saving the McPike Mansion. Now back to the biggest question. Is the McPike Mansion haunted?
It's not one of those places that's going to terrify you, unless you get really nervous about ghosts. But it is a kind of I guess you would say a family haunting. So it's not a place that really usually sends people running in terror, but it's definitely haunted.
It's a very haunted location, if you want to use that word. I just say Sharon is co-owner of the house with Mr. McPike and the whole family. I think it got a bad rap with some other television programs, so we will not name. There are no demons here. There's something going on behind the house back there. There's some bodies that aren't accounted for back there. I'm almost positive. But as for the house, the McPikes themselves, it's like every other location. You show respect, you get respect.
So we're going to come back after dark and see who or what we encounter. Let's do some ghost hunting. Hey, are you liking the video? Hit that subscribe button. And if you love the channel and want to help us continue with our spooky adventures, please consider joining our Ghost Club. For only $5 a month, you can access bonus videos, travel itineraries, behind-the-scenes photos, and get a big thank you shout out from me on the next video. This week, I'd like to welcome Sarah Semino, Joe Lilly, and Lindy Rafiq. You guys are awesome. Thank you so much for your support. Now back to the video. We're arriving at the McPike Mansion for our nighttime ghost hunt, and it seems pretty crowded.
Hi kids, come on in and get checked in.
All right.
And again, no promises. This isn't a dog and pony show.
Len goes on to explain that they can't guarantee we'll witness any paranormal activity. But literally, right after he said this, when reviewing the footage, I found a strange, disembodied child laugh.
Sharon Lucky comes back, we're going to get started. Sharon Lucky comes back, we're going to get started.
I have no explanation for where this sound came from, but my DP and I were sitting on the front porch right by the front window, so maybe we caught an EVP.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is Sharon Lucky, the owner of the McPike.
Once they finished all the introductions, we headed down into the cellar for a darkroom session. We turned off our cameras as we turned off the lights, and then we plunged into darkness.
Okay, well, I'm going to ask in general first. Spirits, we would appreciate it if you would continue to be with us or join us here in the cellar in sight or sound or touch or smell, as long as it's not harmful to anyone. And Henry, if it's okay, I know it's late, but if the children could come down and be with us, we would appreciate that too.
Okay. All right. Here we go.
That's weird. I see 2 orbs. Now 3.
And just give your eyes a chance to get used to the dark.
So let me explain something about myself. I am infinitely curious, but I'm by no means sensitive to paranormal phenomena, and I'm a novice ghost hunter at best. So I'm really here as an impartial witness. I'm a third-party observer. And do I believe that ghosts exist? I'm pretty certain they do. But do I believe that they come when called and respond when asked? I am less certain.
I used to think when they first told me about when Mr. McPike would come here, it's darker than the dark. And I go, how can that be? And yet I've had it happen over and over and over.
So dark.
It's just somebody right in front of me around my legs.
Henry just walked past you.
Okay, that's Mr. McPike. It suddenly got very cold. It's still very cold. Is he still here?
Hey,
Which way did he go?
he's walking to my right, so like towards you. The person that just asked.
Yes.
So,
Just asked him.
yeah.
I think Mr. McPike is showing us.
Yeah.
Touch my hand if you are here. Just. Well, now it feels cold on my hand. Thank you.
I think he was shaking your hand.
Ooh, I just felt something touch my foot, like move my shoestrings. Very cool.
It feels cold on my lap.
So sitting in this darkened basement and being surrounded by a cacophony of strangers talking to invisible spirits it's a stretch for me. But again, I'm curious.
Okay, so there is one person who has dowsing in the rod, so you can ask if James and Jenny are here.
They're in my bag.
Do you see? I thought I saw blinking lights. Yeah, I just saw that.
Can you touch my hand?
Jenny, are you here with us? Holy crap, they crossed immediately.
Okay, and then,
Like violently.
all
I
right,
heard it click.
Yeah.
all right, so then you can ask.
All right, so I'm at the side of the house here at the McPike Mansion. We just sat down in the basement for about 30 minutes in the pitch black dark. Yeah, there are a few other people that claim to sense a presence, multiple presences. This house is supposed to be host to a number of spirits, so we're just trying to find quiet places now to wander around and take pictures and do some EVPs and just see if we catch anything on camera ourselves. But yeah, it's there's about 24 of us wandering around the house right now, and you're allowed in the basement, in the wine cellar, and 1 or 2 rooms on the first floor, but otherwise the house is condemned. Several spirits reportedly roam the halls here at McPike. There have been potential sightings of all 3 of Henry's wives, as well as his mother Lydia, and, of course, Henry McPike himself. Passersby have often spotted ghostly faces and full-bodied apparitions peering out of the windows. And those who dare to step foot on the property have witnessed paranormal activity in the form of orbs, balls of light, shadow figures, and an eerie white mist, most often occurring in the basement. All right, we've got the audio recorder on now. We're going to attempt a little EVP session here. So we're here at the McPike Mansion. I've heard that there's a number of spirits here from the McPike family and and maybe some of the people that were boarders here in the 1940s. If you'd like to make your presence known, we're here. We're listening. You can speak into the recorder. I also have the compass with me if you would like to make the needle move. Henry, if you're here, did you just love this home so much that you didn't want to leave? Did you want to stay and watch over your family? Alright, there's really just way too many people here to conduct a useful EVP session, so we're going to keep moving on, moving around the house. I do have my compass out, checking to see if I get, any sort of significant needle hits. I can hear people out in the woods. It sounds like they're conducting some kind of a spirit box session out there. Investigators have encountered cold spots, drained batteries, disembodied voices, the smell of lilac or cigarette smoke, and a general sense of foreboding. The cigarette smell is attributed to Paul Laschinger, who smoked heavily in life and, as I mentioned, passed away on the property in 1951. It was Paul's spirit that Sharon first encountered. About 6 weeks after buying the house, Sharon was outside watering the plants when she looked up and saw a man in a tie and a white shirt watching her from an upper window. When she acknowledged him, he vanished. Only later, when she first saw a photo of Paul, did she recognize the man she'd seen in the window. In the decades since then, Sharon still gets the occasional whiff of his cigarette smoke.
As you can see, there's a lot of holes in the floor. You will fall straight through.
Wow, those are carved grapes up in the molding. That's really beautiful. This front room here has been converted into somewhat of a gift shop. There's t-shirts and postcards, and apparently bricks from the property that have been painted. So if you're looking to take a piece of the McPike Mansion home with you, you can.
I was sitting over there, and they were sitting here. We heard this huge crash upstairs, and the plaster dust is starting to...
That's the sound of a chunk of plaster
And
falling
I'm thinking
upstairs.
like, okay, I'm gonna get up and move, the ceiling might fall. Okay,
Yeah.
so I got up and moved. Okay, so I mean, this was like major loud, really loud. And so they're like, oh, we gotta go investigate. So here we are, we're going upstairs into this, it's the blue room up here. And Eric had a bunch of wood piled up and stuff like that, okay? Nothing fell.
No
nothing
plaster or
moved.
anything? Really?
Nothing.
Yeah. Becky said there wasn't even a dust cloud.
Nothing had fallen.
I
Nothing.
wonder what that could be. Like,
I don't know, it's just weird.
like them letting you know something, or a residual, like if it's some sort of residual of some event that's going on. I don't know.
Sharon also believes that the spirit of a girl named Sarah inhabits the house, who was potentially once a servant. Though beyond finding her name written in the cover of an old book, there's no historical record. However, they claim Sarah is a helpful house guest. In recent years, a woman on a ghost hunt lost a diamond and sapphire wedding ring. They looked all over and couldn't find it. 1 week later, Sharon entered the house and the ring was placed on the center of the stairs. No one was allowed upstairs. Henry, if you're still here, can you move the needle and point it towards your picture?
Better keep an eye on those windows. You never know what's going to be looking back at you.
Okay, we're gonna go back down into the basement now that there's less people and it's a lot quieter. Well, if there are any spirits present, we're here to quietly listen. Henry, are you here? Unfortunately, I could still hear the voices upstairs, so I thought I'd turn off the light and sit in the dark again.
I wonder, they'll probably stop.
Yeah, they need a minute to settle down.
Yeah. A couple other investigators joined us, and they're adding some cat balls onto the chair. Basically, they're just motion-activated cat toys, and they light up if they're touched. Sarah, are you here in the house? Are there any spirits here in the vault?
Sarah probably wasn't one.
How about the kids? These are pretty fun toys. Are there any children in the basement?
I know it's late, but it's kind of a special occasion.
Let me ask you guys, is it a full moon?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's the strawberry moon.
I told you it was, I don't know things.
It's the strawberry moon.
Sean,
and
do you
summer
see that
solstice.
right there?
There's all kinds of goodies today.
Try taking a still.
Yeah, it's weird.
So it was hard to see because it was pretty dark in the basement. We only had on an infrared light, but it looked like there was a mist appearing in the back wall. So we grabbed the camera and took a couple stills with the flash on, and this is what we got. Next, a session with the dowsing rods.
Is there anybody down here with us? Or are there any spirits down here with us? I was sitting in the back, and they like at one point we asked the very first question, and they went.
Oh yeah, it
boom.
went. Yeah, because we
Like,
heard it. We heard them click. Yeah.
and I was surprised. Like I literally was like, whoa.
Wasn't
So
that when we asked if Lydia was here or something?
it was Jenny? Is Jenny still?
Oh, Jenny. Yeah.
Yeah. Is Jenny still here? I'm not doing that. Is Jenny coming to visit us? Are you okay with us being down here asking questions? Cross them if yes. Is there a negative spirit that kind of hangs out outside? Maybe not so friendly? We were getting some really slightly not friendly responses outside of the crypt a little bit ago.
Oh really?
Yeah.
I missed that part.
Yeah. Is Francis here? Interesting.
Who's Francis?
We don't know.
Oh, was that a name that popped up on the?
Uh-huh.
Well, now, when we were outside, the names Pat and Nicholas popped up.
Okay, so I was out there just after you guys, and it was, the name's Virginia, and Francis with the male spelling. And then there was somebody who was not super happy that we were out there.
Oh, wow.
And we think that was a third person.
So we were just down in the basement with a couple of the other ghost hunters. They were doing some dowsing rods. Someone had cat balls. We didn't really get any significant hits, except there was a time when that weird mist they talk about seemed to form in the basement. So we snapped a couple pictures. But other than that, nothing really significant happened. We're gonna go in the backyard now where they say the old cemetery was and see if we collect any EVPs out there. So here we go. Should I drop something?
I don't see anything.
Let's take a minute to discuss the darker claims that have been made about the McPike. The Ghost Adventures team investigated in 2019, determining the house was host to numerous ghosts, as well as a dangerous demonic force. They made somewhat of a meal out of this potentially desecrated tomb, falsely claiming it was a recent discovery, then substantiated their claims by explaining that the house's foundation was built with cursed limestone from the ruins of Alton's old Civil War prison. However, this rumor was begun back in 2000 by another TV show.
Back in 2000, the Scariest Places on Earth TV show came to Alton. And remember, this is pretty early on with ghost TV shows. And somehow they came up with this idea that because of the old penitentiary that was located downtown, which is worth a stop, but it's just a pile of rocks. I mean, there's not much to see there now. But at one time, it was a pretty horrible place.
Nearly 1,500 soldiers perished here under abysmal conditions during the Civil War. The prison was overcrowded and disease ran rampant, including a smallpox epidemic, resulting in an average of 6 to 10 deaths per day.
And so the area had a reputation for being haunted, but they finally tore down the penitentiary in 1974. So keep that date in mind, because the TV show thought it would be a great idea if they said that the most haunted buildings in town had been built using the bricks from the penitentiary, the Mineral Springs, the Unitarian Church, which is now shut down, and the McPike Mansion. Now, all of those buildings predated the destruction of the prison by like 70 years or more. So it couldn't have happened. But they didn't want to hear that, so I just refused to say it. And so I think Linda Blair, or whoever was hosting the show, just said it for us. So people, for whatever reason, have believed this all along, and that's one of the big ones that I spend a lot of time debunking. We've got enough of our own ghosts that are real. I don't need to add more. Yeah. So.
Is there a spirit out here in the woods with us? If so, could you make the needle move? Some of the others said they were out here before using an ovulus, and they got the words criminal, guilty, and something about the spirit is not playing games or didn't want to play games. I'm more a fan of the old school methods, and it all seems pretty quiet out here now. It's been quite an eventful evening, just for the people watching, and experiencing a variety of ways in which visitors interact with the spirits and investigate the house. For now, my findings are inconclusive, but let me know how your investigation goes. I'm the Ghost Tourist. I'll see you next time.
A ghost